Especially leaders of the 50-50 group in the UN Women. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to stand here. A pleasure and a sense of sadness also after I listened to Dr. Yumkella describe the scene at Kitchen. Roll back the time 60 years, and I see myself, my mother, and my unborn brother in that story. Because I was born 40 minutes down the road by boat from Kitchen. And my mother used to be representative of that group he just talked about. So thank you for doing a general tribute to all women and mothers of Sierra Leone who toil daily to keep us alive. Your testimony is reminiscent of the poem called The Song of the Last Minstrel by Sir Walter Scott, 1753. It says, "Bids there the man with soul so dead, who never to himself has said, this is my own, my native land." For you, he said, if such there be, go mark him well. But you have demonstrated the antithesis of that poem. Because with all the attractions of Geneva and Vienna and all that, you went to lonely Kitchen for your Christmas. Because it is your native land. So for you, we will modify this poem here in Sierra Leone, and it will read thus, as of today. Bids there the man with soul so alive that he always says to himself, this is my home, my native land. And in spite of all the attractions and the trappings of the Western world, I shall go to Kitchen. So we mark you well. We mark you well. But allow me, sir, Your Excellency, to tell you also about another patriot like yours. This is our own homegrown patriot. This patriot, I remember when Madam Chair in 2007 walked into the Hall of Parliament together with her own colleagues in the 50-50 to present the 3 gender bills. We were coming to the end of our term in Parliament. At the government side then, my colleague is here, Honorable Bernadette Lahai. And she was casting suspicious glances across to us in the opposition because she was worried that the opposition always there to oppose may oppose this bill. So she was doing this to me. And then our president today, the leader, President Koroma, said to us, we have nothing to say about these gender bills. Because if these bills are going to ensure that we're going to curb violence against women, we are going to discourage harmful practices on our children, and we are going to rationalize the devolution of estates so that in this country from now on there will be no more tap to me. We will have to support these bills, and we did. And Honorable Bernadette Lahai and Madam Chair today were very happy. So that started the journey. So for that, your theme today, gender agenda gaining momentum. I beg your indulgence for us to modify it and domesticate it here as we used to do in the Parliament of Sierra Leone, and term it today, gender agenda, gaining momentum, the journey so far, Chief Driver, President Ernest by Koroma. Why do I say this? I just talked about the 2007 gender bills. That's where he started his journey. And then when he became president, he took the MDGs, incorporated them in his agenda for change, and used the MDGs as a journey planner to get to where we're going now. He focused on health. Why did he focus on health? It's in 2007. The appalling figures of 867 women out of every 100,000 dying in childbirth while giving life. The appalling figures that made Sierra Leone the worst place on earth to be a child, when children, 267 of them would die for every 1,000. That's over 25%. And of course, the AIDS pandemic was on the rise. Said, I will focus on health as one of my agendas. So it happened that on this focus, he, in 2010, introduced free healthcare. That free healthcare, according to present figures, has reduced the infant mortality rate from 267,000 to less than 140. It has reduced infant maternal mortality from 867,000 per 100,000 to less than 400,000. Over 60% drop. That is a patriot. He thought about those women who Dr. Yumkella was describing. In 2010 also, he went to Moyamba and he apologized. He wasn't even there when most of the war was raging, but he apologized for the atrocities meted out by men on the women of Sierra Leone. Then, of course, in 2010 again, no, 2011, he went to Mabruka. The women were crying and advocating for 30% inclusion in all governance and economic activity in Sierra Leone. They were ready to take to the streets. They were ready to protest. They were ready to manifest themselves. So he said to them, and they were very surprised to hear in Mabruka, I said, you want 30%? I give you 30%. And he did. Turned to me, said, Mr. Minister of Political Affairs at the time, make sure that you speak to your colleagues like Honorable Bernadette Lahai, the women in Parliament, let them take this as an opportunity for them to bring a private member's motion, and I will pass it into law and I will assent that. The delay is theirs, not President Koroma. Otherwise, we would have had a legislation. We would have had a legislation today that would have guaranteed women 30% in Parliament, 30% in government, 30% in everything. But the delay is theirs. But she just spoke to me and said, this time they are going to ensure that they pass that bill. So you have seen the journey of President Koroma that is accompanying you in the women's empowerment. Then, of course, the Americans noticed him in December of 2012. They came here and announced to him that because of the good governance that you're showing and the welfare you're developing in the country, we, the MCC, we're going to afford you the MCA account of compatible, a compact of so many millions of dollars to help you along the journey. But today also, when Olympic runners finish their marathon, there's always a prize. And today is no exception, because here we have Mr. Michel Sidibe, Executive Director of UNAIDS, to announce a special award, prize you call it, to this marathon runner in women's empowerment for the efforts he has put and the commitment he's brought into the activities in Sierra Leone. Because since 2010 to now, the AIDS pandemic has stabilized at a prevalence rate of about 1.5% and falling, tending to zero by 2015. That is a big achievement. And who's at the driving end of that? President Ernest by Koroma. He is the chairman of the National AIDS Commission. So with that, I would now gratefully request Mr. Michel Sidibe of UNAIDS to please take his place for the signing and announcement, and also I'll call our own very young Minister of Health and Sanitation, Ms. Miatta Kargbo, Women's Empowerment, to join him at the table. So thank you very much for the tribute. Thank you.